Mumbo Sauce Radio.
Let's go!
Soundtrack of the DMV.
Alright, man. We here with my man Juice, man. The brother that we go back like 4 flats in a Cadillac. You know what I'm saying? He just came home from doing 4 years of incarceration. So he's here to talk about his journey and to introduce his podcast. I'd like to welcome y'all, my homie Juice, man.
Peace, King. I appreciate you allowing me using this platform, man. Shout out to Mumbo Sauce Radio, man. I appreciate it. I'm very humbled for the opportunity, brother.
For sure. So Juice, man, I understand Juice is not only a name but an acronym, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so what does that stand for the people?
So Juice is an acronym for Justice United and Colored Experience.
Okay.
And I always was called Juice in the streets, as you know, for all the wrong reasons, and I feel like we embody our name. So during my period of incarceration, I felt it necessary to embody that name and reinvent myself for something positive. So I took that, made it an acronym, and now it's a movement about criminal justice reform, and not just my story, but our story, and a collective success, not individual success.
Oh man. So Juice Stream Podcast. Okay, that's your new podcast that you introducing. So what type of topics do we expect to hear on your podcast, brother?
Oh, first it's gonna range. First and foremost, it's gonna tell my story and my journey during my process of filing a 1983 civil rights violation while I was incarcerated in North Carolina, which I actually had to represent myself pro se.
Okay.
And also here in Prince William County, where I actually filed another 1983 civil rights violation, representing myself again. And I want to touch on, just the process of things that we as individuals go through incarcerated that don't get shined upon. If you see how they treat us in broad daylight, you can only imagine how they treat us behind those walls. It's ranging from free labor with no...
So hold up. For the people, you said in 1983, you got to explain what that is, brother. What is that?
Okay, so this is a form where if you're incarcerated, you got to relieve all your administrative relief before you can file this motion with the federal court, district court, whatever district court that is next to you. Like, for instance, if you're in Northern Virginia, most likely you're going to have to file it with Alexandria Court. So saying exhausting your administrative remedies is like you got to write grievances inside of the facility, and if you can't find any relief there, the next step is to file a 1983 civil rights action suit. It's a civil suit against the facility or any individual in the facility that you felt violated your civil rights.
So you're saying that while incarcerated, your civil rights were violated, and you first filed grievances, and if the grievances weren't met when you filed the grievances to your liking. So when they wasn't met to your liking, you then pursued a civil lawsuit, which means that you basically sued the state that you was locked up in. Is that correct?
Yes, I sued not the state, but the actual facility that I was in, that was locked up in. One thing that when you file this lawsuit, you're going to encounter so many roadblocks and hurdles. So you're going to really have to do your due diligence and be in the law library. So, the 11th Amendment gives police officers, anybody working under the color of the law, immunity, or they can request summary judgment where, it's loopholes, what you're really going to have to study and maneuver around those processes. But, and it's a lot of deterrence. Like when you file the lawsuit, it's going to be $400 to $450. Now that doesn't sound like a lot, but when you're incarcerated and you don't have any money to pay for that, that's $450. It's like $450,000,
Okay, so let's start first. I'm sorry to cut you off. So, all right, so firstly, what rights were violated when you was incarcerated? Was this while you were incarcerated, or is this before you were incarcerated when your rights first began to be violated?
The first, when my initial rights first were violated, was actually during the process of being apprehended by the police in Hendersonville, North Carolina.
Okay.
You know, where they apprehended me. I was already in handcuffs, and they used tasers while I was in handcuffs, similar to the prone position that you've seen them use with George Floyd, which they say they don't use in training, but any black man that's ever been apprehended is familiar with that being put in that position. So which I actually was able to obtain the video through motions of discovery, filing motions myself to get those videos.
So I'm sorry to cut you off. I'm gonna slow this down. I don't want to go too fast. So when you were apprehended, you said you had to file motions to get the video. So that video is not ready, available when you need it. Like how long? What was the process?
It took almost 2 years. First, I had to initially file the 1983 civil suits motion. So after you file the motion, it'll take 4 to 6 months to survive review to see if you even have
What up, Buff? What up?
If you have enough
what up, Busy? What up?
grounds to move forward and there's an actual case. So after those 6 months, it goes into a period of discovery where you're gonna have to write your own motions to try to get these releases of documents and all of that. So it was a fight and
so usually do people usually have a lawyer to do these type of things, or is this something that somebody has to do themselves? And this is a two-part question. So do people usually have a lawyer to do these things? And also, how did you know that that's what you had to do these things?
Well, first, when I first, being locked up in a state where you have no ties to anyone, no one, and you don't know when your next court date is coming, your best friend becomes the law library. Okay. So I engulfed myself in knowledge in the law library, and once I came across, I always was familiar being incarcerated. I heard of 1983 forms. So I started studying in the law library because I knew my rights were violated, because what took place when I was apprehended it couldn't have been procedural, and if it was procedural, it's wrong, and we needed to address this and try to go about changing these procedures. So I just was moved to be bold enough to take a chance to try this situation because I knew it wasn't right. So I say, man, I'm going to fight. I've been fighting all my life. So
you filed motions to get the video, and you said it took about
2 years.
2 years.
It took 2 years.
So what was the first steps in that, and what led up to the 2 years? Why did it take so long? Was this like 2 years of rapid, like you getting notified, like what your process was, like within like 2 months, every 2 months you get a notification by whoever to say, okay, well, we're doing this, we move forward with that, or did 2 years later they just said, oh, okay, well, you can go before the judge?
Okay, no, actually, I'm actually waiting to go before a trial now, September the 22nd, where my case has already survived enough where I'm actually going before a trial, so the jury can determine whether I deserve relief or not. So to answer your question, the process of 2 years, initially once I filed the paperwork, it took about 4 or 5 months for me to receive notification whether I had enough grounds to proceed. So then after having the motion of discoveries, it's rules, like I believe it's the federal rules number 28, 31, 33, production of documents, and actually interrogatories where I got to question everybody that I had on the suit, up to 25 questions. And so it took 2 years. It was a slow process. After the first initial 4 to 6 months, it slowed down to about 2 to 3 months. I would get updates as to, and then responses as to like my emotions from the lawyers that represented the defendants in the case, which I initially meet. I sued the Hendersonville Police Department, the sheriff, and additional employees of that facility.
Wow. I'm sorry, I'm penning the comment right now. So you said you're still waiting to go before trial.
Yes, I've got to the point where I actually got a settlement conference in January of 2021 where they offered to settle. But at that point in time, I say, public sentiment is on my side. And if you're offering to settle, you're offering a admission of guilt to. So, I can never lose what I never had.
So they offered you a settlement.
Yes, sir.
But you saying if you take the settlement, then that's an admission to guilt. So you got the money, but they saying that what you said happened didn't happen.
No. See, so when it was set for trial initially at the end of the year, around December 2020, the defendant's lawyers, the sheriff of Hendersonville Police Department, offered me a settlement conference where they were offering to settle so I wouldn't have to go to trial. So it was a magistrate that overheard the settlement. They offered me 3 offers. I denied and said that I wanted to go to a jury trial, which is scheduled now September 22nd, 2022.
Okay, you're going to be representing yourself in that?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Oh, wow. Okay, man, we're going to open up the lines, man, for some calls. If y'all want to call in, man, the number is 202-780-9097. So we got to ask you some questions about this, man, because I think, like, a lot of people need to know this. You not really doing this pretty much to get paid. You doing this so you can change some of the laws, like, of how people are being unjustly treated in the prison system. Is that correct?
Absolutely, because fortunately enough, not all police brutality and police misconduct ends in death, and a lot of times it's as simple as mishandling you and apprehending you. When you're already in handcuffs, you're no longer a threat.
Right.
So it's no reason to use tasers or kick you, punch you, drag you, strip you of your clothes or anything of that nature. And these are tactics that are used. The Constitution tells us that no life, liberty, or property could be deprived from you without due process. So police officers are beacons and supposed to uphold the law, so you shouldn't break the law to uphold the law, and they should be held accountable.
So when they tased you, did they send you to outside medical? Did they send you to the medical in the prison? What?
So this is the thing. They sent EMTs.
Okay. So
when you get tased, they tased me to the point where I defecated and urinated on myself.
Oh,
so
man.
I still have the burn marks in my wrist right here where the prongs were inserted into my wrist.
Shit.
So they're supposed to have a medical somebody trained in the medical field to remove those prongs.
Right.
So they say that I denied the EMT service, which makes no sense within itself, and it's all a part of my complaint in the 1983. So after that, they took me to the precinct, stripped me of my clothes, drugged me naked, and in front of female officers, other inmates that were there in the waiting cell, I had feces and I had urinated on myself, and they had tased me to the point where my equilibrium was so off I couldn't walk. So they put me in a room, hosed me down. I mean, it was a very traumatic experience, that even sometimes to this day I really don't like to relive, and I don't know how I got past that, but it's crazy, brother.
Yeah, man, that's deep, bro. The deep thing about that is, and we had this conversation not long ago, like earlier today, is the trauma that us as black people, especially black men, deal with. That it's almost like people think that this is what we're supposed to go through. It's not what we're supposed to go through. This is not right. You know what I'm saying? And when you go through these type of things, man, you know, you face trauma later on down the line, and you know you could really be messed up behind that and have some real PTSD. So, what are your views on your interactions with the police now? Like,
you know,
are you worried about those type of things? Do you fear for your life when you dealing with the police?
You know, to tell you the truth, as a black man growing in America, I always had a fear of the police. You know, now that I've had a lot of time to reflect and I understand that not all police officers are bad, you know, and I had to remove the hate from my heart, you know, because I did have a disdain for all police officers, you know. However, it's not the individuals, it's the system.
Yeah.
And, you know, if they say bad apples, you know, I don't believe it's just as simplistic as that, as it being bad apples. I think that is deep rooted in systematic racism and so many other things that we'll discuss later in more shows. But absolutely, I think all of us as young black men have a fear of the police, like, because we've been desensitized and they're not here to serve and protect in the neighborhoods that a lot of us grew up in. You know, they're here to stereotype, process, and basically monitor us, you know, for lack of better words or whatnot. And my thing is, just like I'm held accountable if I'm with somebody that breaks the law, a lot of these police officers will be like, oh, it's just him, and they single him out. But you're guilty by association. And, you know, we have a lot of things going on in the country now where we're trying to remove the qualified immunity, and a lot of officers have a problem with that. Now, if you're a good police officer, why would you have a problem with being held to a certain standard if you violate procedural processes?
I think, you know, to be honest with you, I know you said that, you know, all police ain't bad. I'm gonna just be honest with you and just say that, you know, I know a couple of police officers, right? And only one I can think of is a good person, because I know that person personally, and she always been stand up, you know what I'm saying? Like, you know, with me, man, let me just give you some of my experiences with the police, man. Like, you know, because I've done security for a very long time, and when you do security, you know, you have some interaction with the police depending on what type of security you do, right?
Right.
And so I was doing security before, and when I used to get off at like 11, and, you know, when you working from like, you know, 3 to 11 or 4 to 12, you know what I'm saying? You basically ain't got no life. Right. So this is at the time when Fast Daddies was in VA, you know what I'm saying? Right. And I think Thursdays was my Friday, so I was like, boom, you know what I'm saying? I work right beside Fast Daddies. I'm gonna just go to Fast Daddies, right? So it's a dude doing security out there, and I drive around the back and I see him moving some cones in some parking spaces. So I rolled down the window. I said, bro, these jumps reserved or something? And he was like, oh nah, you can park here. And I had my uniform hanging up in the car. He was like, you LE? I didn't even know what LE stood for. I guess he was saying law enforcement. Right? And I was like, huh? He was like, you do security? I was like, yeah. So he like, oh, you got your creds on you? I'm like, yeah, why? He's like, if you do security or you LE, you can get in for free, right? I'm like, bad. Like, I showed him my credentials, right? And he like, you know, come around the front, you know what I'm saying? And, you know, show the big white dude, you know what I'm saying? There, if anybody used to go to Fast Daddies in VA on Richmond Highway, y'all know I'm talking about the fat white dude with the Make America Great Again 11s on. You know what I'm saying? They used to sit on the stool and shit. But he let me through the door. He was like, you got your weapon on you? Mm-hmm. And I'm like, Nah, I'm like, I can bring my weapon with me if I want to. He was like, yeah, as long as you don't drink. I'm like, bruh, you shouldn't have told me none of this shit, right?
Right.
So like, I'm in there like swimwear for like 2 months straight, right? Then one of the nights I was in there, you know me, man, you know, I don't like to be too flashy or nothing like that, but sometimes, you know, I might have a little bit of jewelry on or something like that. So this dude, I didn't know, but he was security there, but not only was he security there, he was undercover Fairfax County Police for the DEA.
Right.
I mean, not DEA, for I don't know what, narcotics division or whatever.
It's one of them alphabet.
Yeah. So like, he the police. I said, damn, y'all do, y'all, you work here part-time? He's like, yeah, you know, they pay me whatever. And he said, you know, if things happen here, we can handle it in-house without the police having to come here and shut the joint down. So now he giving me the game, and I'm understanding how the clubs and the security and shit like that work as far as the clubs is concerned. So I'm like, okay, dude might be alright, dude, you know what I'm saying? Nah, man. He pulled me out the crowd one night and he was like, hey man, did you sneak in through the kitchen? I was like, fuck you mean did I sneak in through the kitchen? You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Nah, you told me to show my creds and go through the front.
Right.
He was like, well, we got somebody on camera sneaking in through the kitchen with the bling bling on like you got on. He was like, follow me through the back. And he put handcuffs on me and walked me through the crowd, bruh.
Yeah.
Like, and I'm like trying to plead with this nigga, like, I didn't sneak in through, why the fuck I'm gonna sneak in through the back? And patting me down and shit. I'm like, man, see, thought he was cool.
I mean, because you know how it is, you know, the one thing that I realized, I always knew, I just couldn't articulate it.
Yeah.
When I see the police, I know I look like suspect number one.
Exactly.
I'm a black man, 5'9" to 6'5", you know, the whole 180 to 350, you know, everybody fits into that demographic who's a black man. So I'm suspect number one. So it's always, you see me and you're always assuming that if I'm not guilty, I done something, and fuck it, come here, boy. You know what I'm saying? So you know, and growing up on the highway and Lord, and you know what I'm saying, I recall the police riding through the park when we were.
They used to know our nicknames
and everything.
We didn't even know them niggas. They were like, so what's up, T-Dog? What you guys doing? You know what I'm saying? You guys are part of the 33 mob. See, to them, it's a big gang to them.
It is.
They think this is fucking cops and robbers or some shit, and they don't know our culture. So to them, they make big cases on us and we don't even know about it. You know what I'm saying? When we just, you know what I mean? Like, we coolin'. Like, they think that we really in a gang or whatever. You know what I'm saying? And it's not really like that. It's just like a bunch of brothers that got love for where they from and, you know, protect they brothers. You know what I'm saying? And, you know, that's crazy. Like, they used to take pictures of us and all kind of shit. And like, harass us, like, ride real slow while we walking. And we was kids, for real.
Right, exactly.
So that shit started at a young age with police harassment with young black brothers, man. Like, it starts in middle school. So, even elementary school, maybe. You know what I'm saying?
So it becomes an adversary, you know, relationship from an early age. And one thing about it is, it's funny that you say it, and that I believe like that's what builds so much animosity in my heart with the police, you know, growing up and always being harassed and asked questions without, you know, like one thing that I always used to think was I had to do when the police run up on us is, and they be like, let's see some ID.
Right.
Like, you know, I thought, oh man, I gotta show the police my ID, and then if I don't, then he has the right to detain me, which is not true, because this ain't Nazi Germany where I gotta show my papers, you know. In a lot of cases, the police don't know the law. They uphold the law.
You're right. You're right about that.
I think it's a lot. This is a part of the podcast that I want to do, is go through laws and read the first Bill of Rights and in layman's term, where brothers like you and I can understand, where the police don't ride through and just violate our rights. Or even if you get into the system, God forbid that, you know.
So contracts in law language, do you think that they purposely make contracts and put the language of the law in there to confuse us? Like,
absolutely. I mean, it's no reason that we're still practicing law in a Latin language that's a dead language that has that's meant to keep a certain person out. You have the right to represent yourself, and you should have proper representation, which is a whole nother thing within itself when you get into these public defenders, which try to represent you with a conflicted interest where you don't pay them unless you're convicted. So how can their interest be to ensure that you get the sufficient representation that you're supposed to get through the Constitution, through your constitutional rights? But yes, it's such a money grab, and it's such a big system. Everybody has their hand in the cookie jar, from starting with the police officers, going to the correctional officers, going to the judges. You have judges that have programs and prisons and jail institutions that they have stake in. Why wouldn't it be in their interest to keep these jails and prisons packed when they have actual stake in certain programs that's in the jail? That's a conflict of interest. And I used to tell correctional officers, don't look at me as job security.
Appreciate you, Busy. I'm listening, bro.
Or stock. Look at me as a representation. I'm somebody's son. I'm somebody's brother. I'm somebody's father. And I think when police start doing that, and I don't want to generalize and put all police officers. That's one thing I want to do, because I don't want to alienate any police officers, because you got some people on that side of the fence that's willing to stand up with our movement as well. You know what I'm saying? Just like it ain't all police officers ain't bad, all niggas in the street ain't real niggas. So you know what I'm saying? And I had to learn that, Tony, and because you know me since I was a young nigga. I always was militant when it comes to police, and like fuck all police. But at the same time, it's not about being militant, it's about being effective. You know what I'm saying? And you want to reach not just our brothers, but you also want to reach those who's already integrated. Just like they infiltrate us, we want to infiltrate them, but in a positive way. You know what I'm saying? So
yeah, I'm with that. I feel like first of all, in order to know where we're going, we got to know where we've been.
Camp come from, yeah.
And that I'm just talking about with our history, with what the actual like law enforcement and policing is. Like we got to understand that
where the terminology come from.
Yeah, man. That police started from
slavery.
Officers, overseers.
Yeah.
So the English language is very, very tricky. The English language has a lot of hidden gems in it.
Right.
Like I don't want to get too deep right now, man. We can discuss these things, at a later time in different podcast episodes. But like even the things that we say, like good morning. Why would you wish somebody like, good morning? Like you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like live. You know what I'm saying? Evil.
Yeah.
Life. Like you know what I'm saying? Like it is. You gotta. Even grammar, grammar comes from the book of Grimoire.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? That is a book of spells.
Right.
Spelling. You know what I'm saying?
Spelling.
You know what I'm saying? Like we cast the spells by the things that we say. That's why they say be careful what you say, what you put in the universe. I think that, spiritually, like everything that we think that is reality in this world right now, we gotta be very careful because a lot of these things have meaning. They have spiritual undertones.
Everything.
You know what I'm saying? And it was
position.
Say it again.
That's why we're in the same position right now as people, because of the words that we use and how we live our lives and what we speak and say. We've been doing it for years and years, and it's still been doing it.
Yeah, man.
Just like this new rap music. What are they talking about?
Oh yeah, this new rap music, but they want to promote. They want to promote this type of rap music, like. And when hip hop first came out, man, it was a code of communicating with our people.
Right,
it was, we were speaking positivity into each other. And,
They didn't know what it was.
They was like, nah, we gonna change that.
We're gonna commercialize it, and we're gonna exploit it, and we're gonna the same things that were on the verge to liberate us, they're gonna confine us into change with what like what they're doing now. Everything that and this is not to sound like an old hater enough, and I respect all craft, you know what I'm saying? But shit, most of this shit I can't listen to because, you know, it goes against everything I believe in. But, you know, a lot of you know, because you've been a part of the music scene for so long, you got to understand when these young boys is going and putting out music, a lot of the A&Rs are, you got to, just like it's a syllabus how we're taught, it's a syllabus like what they're putting out with the music, you know what I'm saying?
Speaking of the police and music, man, like I don't know if anybody's been like looking at the news or what's been going, not the news, but what's been going on in hip hop lately. But you know, they were trying to say that Mace was giving this artist 50 foreign or 50 foreign, whatever his name is, the same type of slave deal that Diddy gave him. Said he signed that man for 5 G's or whatever. You know what I'm saying? Which he tried to clarify and say that it wasn't for 5 G's. But anyways, to get to this particular topic and how it correlates with that, he was saying that he gave the dude Fabio Foreign's, the dude that he was signed under, or his manager, as you will, if you will, 75,000, I believe it was, and he said that the manager was a police nigga. So I'm like, and nobody even caught that, right?
Right.
So we got Fabio Foreign, or whatever the fuck his name is, being managed by a police nigga. We got Tekashi 6ix9ine snitching on everybody that was in his quote unquote gang. Like, we got Young Thug, you know, facing RICO charges. Right. Like
Fetty Wap,
you know what I'm saying, facing RICO charges. AR-AB, it just seems like now the police have infiltrated themselves, and they probably been infiltrated in hip hop since, you know,
from
Biggie Smalls and Tupac, but they are really now in it. Like, so y'all niggas, what y'all about to be signed to next year? Police Records?
Right. I mean, but the thing is, you know, it's beauty and everything. It's no reason to even sign now if you're an artist because of the streaming platforms. Independence. Black men, or anybody who has any type of musical, you know, you can control your own destiny in America today. You know, but you know, I think a lot of people are so. They take the fool's gold, you know what I'm saying? Not understanding, you know, it's a process. It's no shortcuts in nothing in life. You can't take no shortcuts. Right. You know what I'm saying? And you know, you see golden boys like Drake, you know, I'm not a fan, you know what I'm saying? But you know, you know, the industry makes certain people and it destroys certain people, you know. We all seen Hidden Colors and how this shit work, you know what I'm saying? But you know, since hip hop's inception, you know, I like what you said. In order to know where you're going, you gotta know where it came from. And in hip hop, I think where we a lot of these young dudes, they not paying homage to its roots, so they don't really know, you know, the art of hip hop. They don't know the 5 elements of hip hop. You know what I'm saying? And how hip hop is an artistic expression. We didn't glorify, you know, selling drugs. You know, you had broken glass everywhere. They were reporting, you know, the devastation that was happening in our neighborhoods. Now you're exploiting and, you know, glorifying selling drugs or using drugs for that matter. And then have these rappers, Drakes of the worlds, the Futures of the worlds, they're promoting drug use. These niggas don't use drugs. You know what I'm saying? So
exactly. Like these niggas, man, you got Boosie, you know what I'm saying, talking about snitches and talking about Birdman brother was a snitch and who's a snitch and that Nipsey Hussle man is a snitch. But guess what? Slim live in a nice, affluent community. His kids go to private school. He trying to lead you on the path of self-destruction while he living good. You know what I'm saying? Man, we just...
that's trick knowledge, you know what I'm saying? And that shit's insane.
Yeah, man, there's just so many levels that, like, we need to just wake up, man. It's ridiculous, bro. You know what I'm saying? But, I don't know, man. In your opinion, man, what can we do for people to get educated on the laws, man? Because that's one of the, you know, that's one of the main reasons why you got your podcast. You know, why you started your podcast.
I think the first thing we need to do as a people and understand, you know, first we need to. I think it's every person's due diligence to read the Constitution, not just the amendments, but the preamble. You know, a lot of people say, "Oh, in the beginning of the Constitution, we were only perceived as 3/5 of a person."
Yeah,
my nigga, that shit's still in that motherfucker. You know what I'm saying? And haven't been amended. So basically, you know what I'm saying? You know, and we're out here talking about voting. You know what I'm saying? I dig it. You know what I'm saying? I'm not saying that you shouldn't vote. Yeah, everybody should vote, but we should be out here lobbying and participating in activism. You know what I'm saying?
So explain to the people what lobbying is.
That's where the money come, my nigga. You know what I'm saying? Okay, so politicians. So you have these groups. These influential groups like the NRA, National Rifles Association, you know what I'm saying, that has so much political influence because they have money. So they'll give their money to the lobbyists, and the lobbyists will fund the politicians. So when the politicians are elected, they're gonna write laws and make laws because now they got this money from them, so it's a payback. So a lot of people be like, your power is in the vote. That's true, but your power is in the lobby. We as black people, we can lobby in our local communities, you know what I'm saying, and demand change, you know, policy change, you know, not just giving us band-aids or programs that don't actually help us, but actually makes us more stagnant. You know what I'm saying? Like, you have so many things like with these banks and with redlining and things of that nature, according to the zip codes, where we can change these policies. I believe, like, going about the lobbyist angle instead of just saying everybody vote, because these motherfuckers, all Republicans or Democrats, they all eating lunch together at Capitol Hill in the same cafeteria. You know what I'm saying? What's the difference between the Republicans and the Democrats pay? Not a damn thing. You know what I'm saying?
So it's just about, it's mainly about the paper.
It's about the paper.
Who's able to buy them out to change law or whatever.
Exactly.
And I guess the people that have the money, the most money, get the laws that they want to, you know, get changed or whatever.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
That's deep,
things
man.
that make you go,
That's deep, man. Meanwhile, you know, we worried about when the next Jordan's coming out.
Right. Jump man.
But we also need to have, you know, officials of you know, of our community up in here, you know, up in there as well. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Representation. You know what I'm saying? And that's one thing. One thing I realized. I said, man, the more and more I get older, the more and more I be like, damn, a basketball or a football, we push our children to be professional athletes, to entertain who? You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Man, fuck dribbling the ball or catching the ball. Send our little youngsters to college to study political science. You know what I'm saying?
The thing about it is that, like, you know, we not too far removed from segregation and slavery.
Right.
So it's a lot of us that are first generation college graduates.
Absolutely.
And, you know, it's a lot of us that our parents, they did their best, you know what I'm saying, to raise us, and no fault to them, but they was just figuring it out themselves, and we were left to figure it out ourselves. So, you know, that's why it's important, you know, to have things like this while it's still available to have, because, you know, I wouldn't be surprised if they try to police this too. You know what I'm saying?
Coming.
This freedom of speech.
It's coming. I mean, and that's where, you know, freedoms, and we're going to get deep into that, like all of this stuff with the vaccine mandates and things of that nature. And when you start taking away freedoms, you know, you're opening the box to things that you do not want to change, because once they start taking away rights, they ain't just going to be giving the motherfuckers back. You know what I'm saying? But one thing about freedom of speech, what I do want to address, just like you got the freedom to say what you feel, you have to respect another man's freedom of speech. Like with Donald Trump, you know what I'm saying? I don't like what the motherfucker say, but he shouldn't be policed for what he say, you know what I'm saying? You don't like what the motherfucker saying, don't listen. You know what I'm saying? But all that, you know, cancel culture.
He was the president, though.
Yeah,
bro.
I mean, but at the same time, he telling you what it is, brother. You know what I'm saying? I feel it's you know.
That's dangerous, man.
So let me ask you this: what do you rather? You know what I'm saying? You rather like do you know what Joe Biden is responsible for?
Yeah, he's still responsible for doing shit right now.
So
you know what I'm saying?
so this is just for a lot of people who just swear like and understand. I'm not a Democrat or Republican. However, I feel like we as a people, we just give Democrats our votes. In 1994, Joe Biden wrote the crime bill with the police commission that turned 65% into 85%.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? He's never stood up, said I'm sorry, but sitting here pointing fingers, trying to call other people racist. When are you going to be accountable for the wrongs that you did to our communities? You know what I'm saying? Because those 94 crime bill laws devastated our communities.
Yeah.
You know, and now he's sitting there saying, African Americans, I always had your back. How? When in the 90s you said we were super predators and you don't give a damn of why we're in the condition that we're in. We need to be locked up forever, you know? So
to be honest with you, I feel like, you know, I don't trust none of them niggas, you know what I'm saying? Like, you know, I feel like, you know, it's hard to trust somebody when they've lied to you for 400 years.
Right.
You know, motherfuckers can't even trust their significant other no more that cheated on them. You know what I'm saying? You gonna trust a group of people that lied to you for 400 years. You know what I'm saying? Like, so I mean, these politicians and stuff like that, man, they just be talking game, and you know, you paying them for their game. I mean, what's the difference between that and pimping?
Right, no difference. But I'd rather you tell me the raw game than to beat around the bush, and that's one thing that I feel like Donald Trump represent. Understand, I am not a Donald Trump supporter. I'm not a fan, but I respect a man that.
You sure?
Absolutely.
I was that red hat I seen in your car earlier. What that?
I like the color red, the microphone red, brother. You know what I'm saying? Red look good on dark niggas like me. You know what I'm talking about? But look, Donald Trump, I respect a man that say what he say and stand. You ain't gotta guess what he thinking. You know what I'm saying? So.
Yeah, but that nigga was like.
Yeah, he's a wild nigga.
He was like, get him out of here.
I mean, but you got really, and it was a homeboy that I used to listen to that I didn't listen to, but put me on to game. He was like, "Lo, really listen to what he's saying." He was exposing the establishment. You know what I'm saying? That's why they don't like Donald Trump. You know what I'm saying? Now, I don't think he's a Republican or a Democrat because, you know, I've been paying attention to politics since I was a little boy. My mother used to work for the Washington Post, so the first race that I got, you know, I started paying attention to was the Clinton race, you know, with Bob Dole and your boy back in the day. I believe it was Ross Perot. Ross Perot was one of them Clinton joints. So back in 2000, when Donald Trump, the first time I ever seen him run in the Democratic primary, he was a Democrat. You know what I'm saying? And he ran against Al Gore on the stage in the primary.
You talking about Donald Trump?
Donald J. Trump was a Democrat on it. Now, if you Google it now, it'll say independent, but he ran under the
Clinton. When Clinton was...
No, this is after Clinton. When Gore went against Bush. I'm saying I paid attention to politics since the Clinton era. You know what I'm saying? So
I mainly remember when D's Nuts was on. Do you remember that?
Nah, what you talking about?
D's Nuts. He ran for. He was running for president. He was winning actually too. Like around the time, like after Obama, before Donald Trump came on the scene. Oh yeah. I think it was around like Sarah Palin.
Oh man, but John McCain.
D's Nuts was on the ballot.
Oh, okay, D's Nuts. Okay, I didn't know that. That must have been in the early primaries when they was just still playing.
I'm serious though.
Yeah, I already know.
Yeah, but that's crazy, man. You know, I think Donald Trump, the reason why, you know, he was running the country like Suge Knight from Death Row Records is because he was independent like Suge Knight. You know, he had his own paper, so he didn't really care about what, you know, the powers that be said.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And that's a scary thing, man.
I mean,
You
he
know
was the
what I'm
closest thing. I mean, but even if you look at like your boy Easy said, all publicity is good publicity, and look how he still dominates the news. You know what I'm saying? They're polarizing that man, so watch out for the comeback. That's all I'm gonna say, bro.
You think he gonna try to run again?
Yeah.
Isn't he still facing impeachment?
Yeah, I mean he got impeached. But through the House of Representatives.
How you gonna impeach that man after the fact? That's crazy.
He got impeached, but understand, Clinton got impeached too. So the process, that's one thing that we got to understand is process. You know what I'm saying? He got impeached through the House of Representatives, but he got acquitted through the Senate. You know what I'm saying? So which was majority Republican at that time. So that man got a following like none other. You know what I'm saying? So.
Yeah, so man, we gonna wrap it back around to what we think that needs to change, and we probably gonna wrap it up, man, because we about at the 60-minute mark, and I don't want this video to get cut off. But I just want to say that, like, man, as far as like the police and the stuff that they do to black folks or people in general, man, you gotta understand that like a lot of these officers are coming fresh from the military and combat, and they too have PTSD themselves, and you never know like what they did in the military if they have killed already. You know what I'm saying? So you dealing with some people that have a gun in the badge that's already killed somebody. So if they take your life, they not even going to think anything of it. You know what I'm saying?
Right. And I think the biggest component of change is holding these motherfuckers accountable. Take away qualified immunity. The 11th Amendment protects these motherfuckers, like even in their wrong. So say if they do, George Floyd a motherfucker, and it's not, a high profile case, they're just moving over to the next district and being a police officer. So one thing about Biden, I believe he passed the law where it holds them accountable in a national registry for when they perform, police misconduct or whatnot. So a lot of times, some police cadets can go into the academy with good intentions and become indoctrinated. You know what I'm saying? So I think, accountability.
Just like the military.
Absolutely.
Just like any of our societies, or whether they be secret or non-secret.
That's why they need public audits. You can't have the police and the police. Have a public sector outside of, their own, whatever, policing them, you know what I'm saying? So accountability is what I believe is going to change, and people coming forth and speaking up about certain things, you know what I'm saying, it's going to change policy.
So, I mean, sometimes, to be fair and to play devil's advocate,
right?
Sometimes that toughness that you give people is what holds shit down. Like you can't deal with people that's out here like killing people with kid gloves and shit like that. You gotta be some type of way, especially when you're in certain areas. Now you shouldn't be harassing people and shit. You shouldn't be doing all of that. But everybody's their own individuals. But I know that working in certain fields that I've been in, like people learn the system real quick and they try to use that system against the system. You know what I'm saying? And they try to, take advantage of the system. So, what do you do with people like that? Like if we start holding police accountable and, and people start like, oh, well, you can't do this, you can't do that. And now we in fucking real life Sodom and Gomorrah. And
yeah. You have the same procedural system that you have, the same system that locks us up and throw away the key. Have a process where you have a process of an investigation. You know what I'm saying? If it's witnesses that can say, okay, yes, he did it, and with police cams and all of these cameras everywhere, you know what I'm saying, and where they're not redacting information, because a lot of times when you ask for, footage of the police cam, they'll try to jump through loops and give you a redacted, meaning an edited version of the tape. So, you know, I think, you know, and I completely understand what you're saying. I think we need to stop putting them at such a high level of, like, this is one thing I used to ask officers that worked inside correctional facilities. Do you think that your value is more valuable to society than a teacher? Now, we in an American society pay police officers and correctional officers more money than we pay school teachers. That makes no fucking sense at all to me. You know what I'm saying? So
I think as far as like school teachers are concerned, that's another system that needs to be torn down and rebuilt, because what are we teaching our students, especially nowadays when they trying to remove African American history out of the curriculum? They trying to remove, slavery altogether. Are you trying to act like it didn't happen? You know what I'm saying?
That's how they taught it since I was in school. They're not trying to remove. They're trying to just continue not to include. So I feel what you're saying. I absolutely feel that, and I think as far as like the educational system go, I think we as parents have a more, like, a lot of times. We just send our kids to school and rely on the teachers to teach. However, because you have so much underfunded teachers, an average teacher is coming out of college in this Northern Virginia area making like maybe 38 to 40 something thousand a year. A police officer can get 60 to 70 out the gate.
I think teachers are underpaid, but I think that also, like you said, we have to teach our kids ourselves. And I think that teachers, they need to do what, like, what's my man name that tried to do the Frederick Douglass Marcus Garvey Academy?
You talking about brother? And he was trying to build a bank.
Philly.
I think I know his name too, because I like that brother. He had some scandal with some women or something. Umar Johnson.
Umar Johnson. Yeah. So I think that we need to take that approach and build schools for us and by us.
Absolutely.
That, you know, we teach our curriculum, because when we get degrees and stuff like that, whose degree are we getting?
You're indoctrinated.
You know, exactly. Yeah. And it's the same system. No matter where you go and try to turn, we keep on getting to the same system. And yeah, they should be paid more, but should they be paid more to indoctrinate us some more? Or should they be paid more to teach us what we need to be taught? Like, really teach us. Half the shit that we was taught in school, we don't even fucking use to this day. Like, I know. You understand what I'm saying? They don't, and then they lie to you and tell you that you could be, what do you want to be when you grow up? Oh, I want to be the president of the United States of America. I want to be this. I want to be that. Then, you know, you get 16 years old and you got Fairfax County Police knowing your name and harassing you and shit. Yeah. And they be like, you little nigga, you're not gonna do anything. You know what I'm saying? Like, you ain't gonna be shit when you grow up.
Which also, you know, that whole thing, I'm glad you said that, because one thing, the whole system of, you know, once you pay your debt to society and holding felonies against you when you already paid your debt is a form of double jeopardy. You know what I'm saying? Because you're being double punished. If I pay my debt to society, okay, I go in here, you know, I sold drugs, for instance. I do 4 or 5 years. My debt is clean. Unless I shouldn't have to have a background check for a felony to work at fucking Walmart or McDonald's. You know what I'm saying? That shouldn't disqualify me. Certain things I can understand. But other areas, which is, you know, you're making progress because, you know, they banned the box in 2019 where they can't ask on initial, you know, applications, but in an interview they can ask if you have ever been convicted of a felony, which, you know, actually we are protected through the 1960 civil rights movement law, where you're not supposed to be discriminated against for having a, you know what I'm saying, a felony. But however, who's gonna say, yeah, we're not gonna hire you because of your background? But once if they do, you know what I'm saying, I hope enough, now that I know that and I read that in the paper, hope a motherfucker do tell me that I'm not hired because of my felony. But
I don't agree with a lot of shit pertaining felonies. Like, you know, I don't think it's fair that, you know, and I know that it's changed and it is possible for you to get your voting rights back. I don't think that that's fair. I don't think it's fair that you lose the right to protect yourself and get a firearm. like, you know, sometimes people make mistakes in life. I don't think that, like, I guess that's one of the things that what you was trying to say and what you was just saying. Like, just because you make a mistake in life doesn't mean that that's a lifelong mistake.
Right.
You understand? People change, man. And when you take certain privileges away from them, they have no choice but to keep being that same person, because you're not affording them any freedom to be otherwise, to show that they've changed.
Right.
You understand?
The money's in the comeback. Like, just like, we all know. And what I'm saying is the double jeopardy. So it says that you're not supposed to have double jeopardy or multiple. You can only be punished once. You know what I'm saying? So when after you come home and you've done your time, to have all these, like, okay, so I can't live here, I can't get this loan, you can't get federal loans. Like, my first time coming home, I couldn't get Freddie Mac or Sally Mae loans because of my felony, my conviction. So I had to take what's called the Apex Independent Loan. You remember when I was going to the Westwood College for art or whatnot, and that loan was 28%. You know what I'm saying? Which is crazy. You know what I'm saying? So when you don't have, like, avenues, like you said, opportunity is what cut recidivism. You know what I'm saying? But a lot of these officers, like, even with the laws that's changing now, Ralph Northam went to 65% instead of 85% based off of good behavior incentives. Of course, your boy Glenn Youngkin comes in and tries to repeal that because you have a lot of officers and correctional officers saying that it's going to affect their bottom line. You're going to need these institutions regardless. You know what I'm saying? So you shouldn't look at, people as stock. You know what I'm saying?
So I don't know, man. It's a catch-22 as far as jail is concerned and prisons are concerned. You being someone that's been incarcerated in a prison, do you think that prison that system works? Like, do you think that that's beneficial to make you try to make you a better person?
Absolutely not. See, prison and jail institutions are made to make you worse, to lock you up in. I believe we live in a progressive society. So 50 years from now, when we look back and see how people were treated while being incarcerated, we're going to view it as being inhumane. You know what I'm saying? If you lock your dog up in a cage all day, you know what I'm saying, Peter going to be knocking at your door, or Fairfax County Police or Prince William County Police going to be knocking at your door ready to lock you up for animal cruelty. You know what I'm saying? So when you lock two grown men in an 8x10 box and expect them to conduct themselves civilly, that's asinine. You know what I'm saying? So of course it doesn't better. It takes a strong mind. Most men come out worse off than they went in if they didn't take the time to better themselves, which is hard to do. Down, it's all systematic down to the colors that's in there. The colors that's in most blocks are painted that color to make you depressed and to keep a low, morale in the unit. So all of this shit is systematic, to keep you down. And
so say you're married and you have a wife. Obviously you're married, right?
Nah.
All right, so no, I'm not talking about you really actually being married. I'm saying say you're married, and somebody just kills your wife point blank, bow, just shoot her in the head. What do you think should be done to the individual that did that?
I think if we live in a law governed by Christian or biblical principles, I believe that everybody should have a path towards redemption. Yes, incarceration is necessary, but it should be, you should have a road towards redemption.
But is it really necessary? Are things that we, I struggle with this. I sometimes struggle with what's really reality and what's really right and what's really wrong. And these things that we have been taught, that doesn't necessarily mean that is right or it's wrong. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like, I know that sounds like cliche,
yeah.
but it's like, is it necessary, or is that just what we've been taught? Like, because when you talk about biblical terms, like, is that really real? Like, is that just because they say that this is how things should be, is that how it should be done? Like, I mean, I believe in an eye for an eye, tooth for a tooth. You know what I'm saying?
Biblical. That's biblical. So I feel you to a certain extent. That's why I say if you take a man's life, you should be, I think you should, some form of punishment should be inflicted. If you break the law, I feel like some form of punishment should be inflicted.
Yeah, some form of punishment, but every situation is different. And,
right.
And times change, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like, so, what they would have done in biblical days, or, you know what I'm saying, like the Stone Ages or whatever, might be different compared to what we do now. So, I mean, I don't know, like, I'd like to have a poll about that, or a discussion about that. Like, what do we think could be done with people because sometimes there's people that do make mistakes in life. Sometimes there's really evil people out there that really are savages, and you know what I'm saying? And, so like, how do we judge that? How do we gauge what type of punishment needs to be done? And is that punishment, humane? Like, what punishment is humane? You know what I'm saying?
Right.
It's punishment.
Punishment is punishment, but it should be some levels to, understanding. So this is why I say you should have like certain, say you go, the Virginia prison system and the North Carolina prison system have points how they determine which level of classification you go to. But say you don't like a certain correctional officer don't like you. If you're a level 1, they can send you to a level 4 or 5. You know what I'm saying? So the things that's inhumane, and it promotes, like when I first got locked up, I didn't understand why brothers would always tell brothers that they didn't know that they love them. And I'm like, why these niggas always saying they love? I don't even know these niggas. Because when you take away human contact, you know what I'm saying, you're vying for attention. It's so much trauma that happens with being incarcerated. You know what I'm saying? That, like, we had a discussion earlier. We as black men, we don't like to communicate a lot of our trauma. For one, because we can't identify it, and we've been desensitized to trauma, and we feel like, things are just, it is what it is. We hear a lot of niggas saying it is what it is. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But it ain't what it ain't. You know what I'm saying? So
it ain't what it is.
I think the biggest goal for society is, okay, we're only as strong as our weakest.
Word.
You know what I'm saying? So if we're focused more on rehabilitation than punishment, then we're following, you know what I'm saying? So one of my favorite quotes is, Martin Luther King said, injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere. You know what I'm saying? So when you have, you have the system, which, a lot of these young black men go into the system, you know what I'm saying, already disenfranchised and disadvantaged. You know what I'm saying? So how are you building them up? You put them on a farm, you make them work for free. You know what I'm saying? You're devaluing them. You know what I'm saying? So when they hit the streets, and one thing I realized I never got, like, a lot of niggas I know that don't work on the streets will go to jail or prison and work for these motherfuckers for free. You know what I'm saying? But won't come out and work. You know what I'm saying? So, a lot of this shit is systematic, as you know, and I don't have all the answers, but definitely we gonna get there together, brother. You know what I'm saying? Because we gonna attack this from every angle.
For sure, man. Well, I guess that's about wraps it up, man. Till next time, man. We got my man Juice here, man. Juice Stream Podcast, Mumbo Sauce Podcast, Tony Tone, man. We out.
All right. Peace, God.